welcome to the Trinitechcast. My name is Andre Charles, Mr. Charles from Make It Simple TT at Trinitechcast. That is where you will find me most of the time speaking about technology. And today it's January right now, but I'll let you know another insight. We recorded this in December, but that's because we had to take a little Christmas vacation, but we needed to make sure that when we came out in January, we hit the ground running. And today is the first of our special set of podcast episodes speaking directly about CANTO Connect. It's a conference that's coming up, and we have all the information. The link will be in the description and all of that, and you will see the promos coming up for it as we go through our discussion. And in order to do this conference, we've been tasked with we've been rewarded with the ability to interview some of the people from CANTO and talk to them about.
I like you looking at it as a reward. I like that.
It's a reward, guys, because this is what we're doing for years. We're talking about technology in a positive light, and we have today Mr. Rhys Campbell, the Executive Director of Liberty Caribbean Foundation, and he's also a director on the CANTO board, but he'll explain that to you in detail. I have a 4-paragraph bio, but we didn't come here to hear about the bio. We came here to talk about Rhys's life, his activities, the things he loved to do with technology, and just kind of get an understanding of how CANTO Connect is going to make things better for the Caribbean and what part you have to play in that. So you are the first of our interviewees. We should have some other interviews as we go through the January period leading up to February when we have the conference. But Rhys, welcome to the podcast all the way from Jamaica.
Yes, thank you very much, Andre, and thank you to all of your listeners, you techies out there. You're one of our most important stakeholders, particularly in the digital ecosystem that we like to speak so much about. We're very excited as CANTO to have the opportunity to have persons who are in various stages and levels of their kind of technology journey.
Yeah,
that's important.
Correct. Yes, perfect. Where are you from? Which part of Jamaica are you coming to us from?
I'm coming to you from Kingston, Jamaica. Kingston, as you know, is one of the largest cities in the English-speaking Caribbean. So Kingston has a parish system, an administrative system that was given to us by the British. So we have 14 parishes, and there's Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Catherine, which we call the corporate area.
Right.
I live in St. Andrew, but most people just call that Kingston.
There's a eastern side of Jamaica and a western side of Jamaica. To my understanding, the eastern side of Jamaica is the more suburban kind of busybody kind of people, and then the western side is kind of like countryside. Is that true?
Well, one of the things that make Jamaica quite unique is it's a good smorgasbord or a good mix of different experiences. So we have agriculture as one of our mainstays. We have tourism. Banking and finance, investment banking also. Mm-hmm. And most of the seat of government is actually in Kingston. So that's one of the things that makes an experience in Jamaica so rich. The culture is there. We have a very vibrant culture. A lot of your listeners, for example, love themselves some cartel. So
right.
So we have also the most rum bars in per square mile, and we have the most churches per square mile. So that's one that makes Jamaica very interesting. When you look at the total combination of who we are everything that you want and everything you've dreamed of. And everything.
Right. Okay. Now, which part of Jamaica did you originally hail from? You were from Kingston all the time?
Yeah, I'm
went
from
to
Kingston.
school.
I actually grew up in a small community, which is Belgrade Mews. Most Jamaicans don't know Belgrade Mews. What is so interesting about Belgrade, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 24 homes in that community, and everyone grew up there. Everybody
knew each other because your neighbor could give you licks if you come home late.
How you know? It was everybody's auntie and uncle. We stayed close, and I don't know. It was just it's one of those things that's so interesting. All of the persons in the community, we literally were born in the same year, so we're all the same age.
Right. Playing football, playing cricket, going to school, doing CXC, all the different things.
Football, and I don't want to age myself, so I'm going to see how I can
You don't have to. It's
safely.
okay.
But we definitely grew up in the age where we started from Nintendo to Super Nintendo to
Okay, okay, okay.
you name
So,
it, you name it. We
okay, so
went through it
you
all.
had a Nintendo. So did you ever beat Super Mario Brothers?
I I personally did not, but I was in the room when it was
You
done.
was in the room when it happened because you had to play for like 3 hours straight and you couldn't take off the TV because you couldn't save the game. You had to
Exactly.
watch it all the way to the
Yeah,
end.
I tell you, kids these days just don't
They don't
understand.
understand. Don't take off the TV. No, don't unplug it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so that's nice. I'm glad to know that you've been through the community and you know about gaming and those different things. Now, in terms of your life and your education, you
Right.
wouldn't have started off wanting to care about digital inclusion and corporate responsibility and all those different things. Like in school, what were you like passionate about? Were you passionate about the technical subjects? Did you do sciences? How did you go? Yeah.
That's a very interesting question because
Yeah.
when if you asked me when I was going to university where I saw my life, uh,
Mm-hmm.
my entire education is based in international relations, political science, government. I have a
Oh,
degree.
for real? So you were a social sciences student in UE
Yeah,
and well, no, was it UE
it
University?
was
Mona?
UA
Okay, yeah,
Mona. Yeah,
UE
I
Mona.
was very active on campus. I was on the guild,
Oh,
and
wait. You know, guild members have a reputation for going into politics. That's usually where guild members go. Yeah.
well, that's generally the funny thing. So I am not directly involved in politics, and
Okay,
I
okay,
can safely say that when I envisaged where I would be and what I would be doing, number one, I didn't see myself in telecommunications, and number
okay.
two, I didn't see myself in the private sector. I actually thought I would have been an ambassador for Jamaica, working on
Yeah,
trade
yeah.
because my master's is actually in international trade and
Right.
international commerce. So I was pretty confident that I would be in that kind of sphere.
Uh
Uh,
huh.
but when life
Yeah,
gets,
yeah. It doesn't always go the way that we plan it. And one of the things my university lecturers always used to tell me, like the things that you are learning right now will be for a job that doesn't exist. And there's no way I thought I would have be like on YouTube teaching
yeah,
children
like
IT.
what, like
Yeah,
who would have even thunk
yeah.
or conceptualized YouTube 7 years
Correct.
ago?
Yeah. So like with
So
my son and my daughter and whatnot, I telling them like whatever you learn right now, more than likely is for a job that nobody even knows exists yet. But you just have to make sure that you have the soft skills. The soft
yeah,
skills is what makes the difference. The
yeah,
education is cool. Soft
yeah.
skills are transferable to anything. So yeah, that's usually what I would tell students. Yeah.
Absolutely, and not just that. Like when I was in university, I was very passionate about something called the Free Trade Area of the Americas.
Oh
That
wow.
doesn't even exist. If you're telling someone about the FTAA, like they'll
Yeah.
be like, "What is that?" That was like one of the groundbreaking trade
Yeah.
international treaties that was supposed to completely revolutionize how the Western Hemisphere of 34 countries would look. We're supposed to have areas where we could exchange more, and if you make a
Yeah.
Jamaica, you could, yeah, different
And
landscape.
all of a sudden that's in thin air, and now you have to think about artificial intelligence and how to
That
apply it
and
to the
yeah,
things
that's
that you're
right.
doing.
Yeah.
Nice, nice, nice. So international relations in university and whatnot. So where did telecom come in? Like how it was it that you were trying to get a job in your field and it didn't work out, and you was like, okay, they have an opening at this telecom company. Let me just go and start there.
All
Or
right.
was it that
So
you
at the
wanted to?
risk of maybe getting of talking a little bit too much, but
No. Go ahead. It's a podcast. Talking is what
okay,
we
all
do.
right, yeah, that's good. That's good. I'm not used to podcasts, You have to see with me,
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
all right. So when I started out my career, I was working with British American Tobacco, or in the case of for most of your listeners in Trinidad, Whitco.
With co,
So,
yes, yeah, yeah.
right, I was working with the sister company here in Jamaica called Carreras Limited.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was here at Carreras, I was focused a lot on corporate social responsibility. Fresh out of university, I was really my focus was really looking on international trade, looking at CARICOM and how the
Yeah.
organization could blossom a lot more, the Caribbean single market and economy, and that was kind of like my expertise.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was in when I was very involved there, I worked as the head of corporate affairs here in Jamaica, and eventually. my boss at the time said, "Hey, we have a vacancy that's open in Trinidad," and I was like, "I don't know if I'm ready yet." And he's like, "Nonsense, you need to go."
He's that
I
kind of
knew-
boss is like, yeah, you're clipping your
yeah,
wings, go and fly.
yeah,
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 okay,
yeah. So
So you came down and you're working for Whitco?
I was working for Whitco and I lived in
Yeah.
Trinidad for 5 years. Absolutely amazing. Loved it. There,
Uh,
I have lots of friends in Trinidad, and every time I come to Trinidad, it definitely feels. You see, when that plane starts to like make that descent into PRK, it
yeah.
feels like home. I just
Okay.
feel immediately. I have a routine. I have a list of things that I'd like to eat. Some of them are absolutely random. Like I like I like the spicy chana.
Doubles?
I do like doubles, but I like
Uh,
my doubles. Unfortunately, I do like it with too much chana. I like it. I like just a little bit. So if I give you a slight
hold
chana,
on. Hold on.
you're
All
like,
right, this is not a
bro, like
food blog, but doubles without China. Well, I appreciate your honesty, but a
yeah,
lot of
yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of Trinis
I
like,
know, I
who
know,
is
I've
this?
gotten
Yeah.
myself in trouble with a lot of the listeners. But I just like a little bit, just a little bit. You know, like I
Yeah,
don't like
yeah,
too much
yeah.
sauce, right?
Right. So you came
So
to work for Whitco,
I
and
did
yeah.
work for Whitco, and so I was in the tobacco industry for about 12 years, almost 13 years. And then I
Mm-hmm.
made up my mind and I was like, I want to try something a little bit different. I came
Yeah.
back to Jamaica, and the electricity company, the Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS, the CEO, I met her and she's like, I want you to come and work for me. And I was like, okay, all right. So I was in the energy industry for a little bit based on my
Uh-huh.
time with my extensive period there in tobacco. And then similarly, a colleague or an old friend from the Bahamas said, "Hey, I'm expanding a lot of the distribution in wines and spirits that I'm doing in the Bahamas, and I think you'd be an excellent person who would help me to not only like manage the corporate affairs or the international trade side of it, but you'd be able to help me to move the business a lot faster." And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, "Hey, bro, come to Nassau and
What? So did you like doubt yourself, or did you have like imposter syndrome or some kind of thing like that, where you're feeling maybe?
a tech podcast, but yeah, let me be very honest with you. Yes, I did
Yeah.
have a little bit of imposter syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's something that most millennials have had to deal with
Of course.
because
Yeah. 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 For
we,
sure.
we tend to be in the room and we're just like, "Am I ready? Am I worthy? Can I manage it? Can I do it?" And,
Yeah.
this is a moment of vulnerability. I'll say that if it wasn't for friends, good families, mentors who would look at me and
Mm-hmm.
Reese, what he's saying, stop it. Like, no, you can do it.
Right.
So
Right.
I worked in the Bahamas for like 2 years, and I came back to Jamaica, worked with a similar company in Jamaica that did wine, spirits, foods,
Mm-hmm.
etc. And having done that for like 5 years, the head of the telecommunications company here in Jamaica was just like, "I think your skill set would be really good in telecommunications." So I was
Hold
like,
on, pause. How
"Yeah,
did he find you? He was just like, oh, how did he or she find you? They're just like, oh, this guy works really well here. You went to dinner, you're
yeah,
drinking. What?
it's one of those things where it's sometimes in life, for all those persons and techies who are wondering what's the point of networking, and for those persons who think, hey, my work speaks for itself, it doesn't always. Sometimes you
Mm-hmm.
have to be your own salesman and do your
Mm-hmm.
sales pitch. I met him at a cocktail reception. I knew him before, and he's like, "Hey, so
Right.
what you up to?" And I was like, "Well, I was working in NASA. I
Yeah.
was working in Montego Bay." And he's like, "So, would you consider working in telecoms?" And I was like, "I don't know, bro. I
Yeah.
guess."
Whoa, that networking thing, it's a real thing. And well, people like me who like introverted, I
Yeah.
really don't like to go out and but when you meet somebody who has your same running in your same lane and loves to talk about the things that you talk to, oh my goodness, I could talk to them for hours and I'll
Yeah.
just keep going and going and going. And
Yeah.
I could be out, I could be wherever, it doesn't matter. So yeah, networking is kind of cool, and I believe that's what CANTO Connect is want to
Yeah.
try to get out of us. So before we go into the next segment, right, I just wanted to know, now the telecommunications industry is very vast, it's very broad. Just kind of give me a gauge of what you did in the telecommunications industry and which part of it you like the most and which part of it you didn't like the most. Because this is a podcast, you get to see those things.
Okay. All right. So, I just want to say a shout out
Uh-huh.
to the CEO of Liberty Caribbean, Inga Smith.
You don't have to say the bad part. You can say the good parts
Just
if you want to. I just poking. I just
not
poking.
necessarily. And also
Yeah.
Rhys Campbell. So
Yeah.
okay, on a serious note. So when I started telecommunications, I actually started in what we call business operations, and the business operations was really for ensuring that I pulled together all of the work of the commercial and the technology teams, and just ensure that we could really like focus and zoom in on the things that would make the business grow, that would
Right.
ensure profitability, and more specifically, I was a problem solver. So I was looking and trying to understand. All right, this is an issue. So I had a project management team that reported to me, and
Right.
we were like the problem solvers. We would look to find the different areas of the business that needed to to be rethought, or needed
Mm-hmm.
some
Mm-hmm.
kind of expansion, or any kind of information, added information, and really kind of deep
So you
dive.
were like the glue between marketing and technical.
In,
Sort
yeah,
of.
pretty much.
Right.
I guess that's the simplest way to put it.
Right.
The nuanced way that I like to say is I was I was kind of like behind the scenes. It's a little bit of a chief of staff role because
Yeah, 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 pulling
it
strings
was,
because you would have to argue with the technical guys who say that something is not possible, and you have to tell them, no, you could make it possible. And then you have to argue with the marketing people to be like, no, you can't tell them we could do that. That's not technically possible. So you had to kind of play the balance and act between those sort of things.
yeah,
Right,
and
right.
when I entered a business that was in transition, Liberty Latin America, which is a parent company of Liberty Caribbean, that at the time Cable and Wireless Communications was really kind of focused on the merger and acquisition. So it was a new company in the sense that Liberty Latin America had just started in that fold and in that sphere. And what we were doing was really kind of building a new culture. There was a lot of legacy systems. There were two companies. There was Legacy Cable and Wireless. There was Legacy Flow. So it was really kind of marrying all of the different systems and the
Oh
platform.
yes, flow and cable and wireless. Around those times,
Yeah.
there were like 2G systems and one and those sort of things going on, and everybody was trying to get to 3G. And oh wow, you are part of that, like that solving that problem of getting from 2G to 3G, the types of phones and
Yeah.
TDMA and GSM and those sort of things. You were
Well,
there?
not necessarily on the mobile side, but certainly on the fixed side of connectivity. A
Oh
huge chunk
yes,
of what I was looking at is, so we had us we when I joined the company, we had almost like four systems. So we had copper,
right. Yeah, couple.
we
Yeah,
had HFC, we
right.
had just started rolling out fiber, and we had wireless through Decal, which is a company that was owned by by Flow in Jamaica. So imagine you have a platform, you're selling four systems at the same time.
And all
So
of them burning cash.
there's so many different experiences that people had with Flow.
Yeah,
On copper, they had
yeah.
their landlines were great. They had super reliable, stayed up in a hurricane. But of course, as you know, that tapped out at like 2 to 8 megs. You can't really move
Yeah,
in terms
correct. Yeah, yeah.
Decal, which is great for if you're living in the hills, which is where I live. I live now in the hills. So that meant that you could have wireless connectivity, no, no fiber
No
wire,
interference. Yeah, and no wires breaking and those sort of things. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and that would have tapped out at like 8 megs. And then you had
yeah,
HFC, which could do about 50 megs, and then you had fiber, which could do a lot more and a lot
yeah.
faster.
If you could
So
get
it
it,
was a
yeah.
very different experience that, depending on where you are in Jamaica and what you were doing, you lived a completely different experience
Oh
as it
wow,
relates to
yeah.
internet connectivity.
And
So
you are the one that's
company
tasked
that
with solving problems.
I spent my early days of my career doing was working with the team, and the vision that Liberty Latin America had was, hey, we need to move everyone off all of these all of these alternate means and move them towards fiber. So
Right.
a huge chunk was kind of getting the business ready, getting the capital investment ready, doing a lot of the kind of budgetary
Oh
uh,
wow. Okay.
to
That
get.
was so cool. I kind of wish I was like doing that. Well, okay. No, I'm a teacher and I love teaching computer science.
Yeah,
So, but when you see those sort of projects thing where you're trying to get people to use a particular technology and you
yeah.
know this technology will benefit everybody. Oh, I love those things. I
Yeah,
love those
but
things.
here's the interesting thing, because I had zero experience in telecommunications, so I kind of came in and I was just curious, and because I kind of
because you wanted to solve a problem. It
Yeah,
doesn't
I
matter what
want
the
to
problem
solve
is.
it,
You're
yeah.
just naturally like, I
Yeah.
love solving problems. Teach me everything that I need to know, and trust me, I'll
Right.
solve it. Yeah,
Right.
I
So I
get you.
remember sitting in my colleague's office one day and I was like, so I'd be in meetings and I'd hear all kind of acronyms. I'd be like, yeah, what is it? What is the T? What's the M
Yeah,
sign?
yeah.
And I'd be just there writing it down like la di da da da. And I'd go in my colleague's office after and I was like, yo, bro, what is this? And, and I remember him explaining it to me. And thank God, not only is he a techie, but he's a nerd. So
Right.
we
Okay,
use the
he
techies
hinted.
and nerds when that kind of spirit
Yeah.
comes together, like, and love to like teach and explain. So
Yeah.
I learned so much from him. Shout out to you, Delroy. I learned so much from
Nice.
Delroy that I could eventually, when I look back at where I started the company in 2019, in terms of kind of looking at and to where I am now in 2025, I've grown so much in the telecommunications industry. So much so that
Nice.
when I tell people I'm a newcomer to telecommunications, they're like, "Stop it." You're in the company like 7 years now. Stop it. I'm like,
Right.
oh, yeah, for real. I've seen a lot. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, that was all the good stuff. I wouldn't ask you any of the bad stuff because it seems like you had so much joy in
Yeah,
doing it.
yeah. So
And
here's what I can say about the bad
yeah,
stuff. That one of the things I've recognized that the telecommunications industry has a challenge with is to explain how the network operates. And you see, just what I explained to you about like the 4 different kind of
yeah.
that we had, that was a huge chunk of what was causing the
To
reliability.
explain it to the common person, to the regular Joe. Yes, I agree with you. Sometimes conveying the message of what your new features could do for them, it doesn't. They don't really feel too convinced about what you're saying. And somebody who is very good at bridging the gap is usually the best marketer to let them know. All right, ma'am. Your landline works really well. Yes, I know. We're not taking away a landline. You're going to have the exact same number. But and you want to tell them we're going to put you onto this new system called fiber, blah blah blah. And when
Right.
really and truly they just want to know, is my number going to work, and it's going to work as good as it did when the hurricane came and went. And they were like, oh, okay, cool, no problem, just change it. But sometimes we like to go a little too technical and confuse people. So yeah.
Andre, literally, that is a conversation I have had to have so many times. So many customers call and they're like, my landline not working, and you're like, here's the thing.
Yeah.
The technology for landlines has kind of reached the end of life on the copper,
Yeah.
so we kind of need to migrate. But I don't want that.
Yeah.
It's been very difficult, but I will say so. That has been one of the things that has been a little hard and frustrating, especially because we're creatures of habit,
Yeah.
and we like especially if you're of a certain vintage, you like picking up your landline and
Of
making
course,
calls.
cause my grandmother and my aunt, they no, that's for another podcast. That's for another story. I'll probably bring it back on again just to talk
Come back
about
on that
telecommunications.
podcast to talk a lot
Yeah,
about what happened.
just to talk about telecommunications alone. All right, so we move. Let's go take a short break and we'll be back with some more to talk about CANTO and how your philanthropic and community driven work aligns with CANTO, and we'll talk a little bit about the conference one time, right? So we'll be back after this. It's Mr. Charles here from the Trinitechcast, and I'm inviting you to CANTO Connect 2026. From February 1st to 3rd, 2026 at the Hyatt Regency, Trinidad and Tobago. It's the 42nd annual general meeting, where the Caribbean's top leaders, innovators, and policymakers will be meeting to discuss the Caribbean's digital future. This year's theme is Elevate the Caribbean, from connectivity to global competitiveness. This theme will spark conversations, connections, and of course collaborations that will drive regional transformation.
CANTO Connect 2026 is here. The Caribbean is ready to rise and the world is watching. From February 1st to 3rd, 2026, industry leaders, innovators, and policymakers will gather at the Hyatt Regency Trinidad for CANTO Connect 2026 and the 42nd AGM. Expect unmatched networking opportunities, a power-packed agenda, and insights from global thought leaders, government ministers, and top executives shaping the digital future of our region. All against the backdrop of Trinidad and Tobago's rich culture, energy, and warmth, where business meets rhythm and connections go beyond the boardroom. Join us as we elevate the Caribbean from connectivity to global competitiveness. Don't just attend, be part of the movement. CANTO Connect 2026.
Welcome to CANTO Connect.
So the CANTO Connection is the conference that we have coming up, and the basic concept is that the theme is Elevate the Caribbean from Connectivity to Global Competitiveness, and it's trying to bridge the digital divide and bring a digital economy to the Caribbean, where we definitely have some issues, but we'll talk about it in the third segment. But in terms of your life and the things that you have done in your time in technology, I could see that you aside from Liberty Caribbean, you're also on the board for the Flow Jamaica Foundation. You've been working with environmental and social government. Sorry?
I'm also in charge of the Liberty Caribbean Foundation. So
right, yeah. That's the first one. Yeah, that was in the that's this one here. Yeah. Now the Liberty Caribbean Foundation, Flow Jamaica Foundation, environmental and social governance, ESG agenda. That's some things I saw in your bio, right? Now I don't want to go into each one of those roles, but they have a common thread, and the common thread is trying to get some sort of plan or system put in place for digital inclusion to happen in Jamaica and the Caribbean. Now, the thing about digital inclusion is that it's a nice word to say,
yes,
but when you actually meet someone who you say, all you have to do is download the app and you'll be able to get this, and they watch you like, download what app? What do you mean? Why I have to download the app? Why can't I just get it? Why I'm accustomed going to the line and I get everything. And digital inclusion, it starts with an idea at the top, but when you drill it down to the actual common human being on a day-to-day basis, in the Caribbean, we definitely have that sort of interaction that we have to deal with. Now, you being a part of these different foundations and organizations or whatnot, what have you seen in your role as the chair or on the board or whatever it is? What have you noticed here?
Okay, so I'm going to answer your question on kind of two different fronts. I'm going to answer the question as a telecommunications professional, and I'll answer a little bit more about what you're getting at. Again, kind of like my 9-to-5 currently is. As a telecommunications professional, one of the things I'll have to say is we are actually very passionate about how we can get more persons to be using technology and connectivity, largely because when you stop and you think about how much we are dependent on being connected and staying connected and using our mobile phones, using the internet, it's something that is super critical. And if we really want to grow our Caribbean region, and I consider myself a true Caribbean man, right?
Of course, because you lived in Jamaica and Trinidad and the Bahamas, and I'm sure other places.
Yeah, for sure. So when I kind of think about that experience as a telecommunications professional, I actually really want more people to be connected. I think we can move a lot faster as a nation, as a country. Well, a nation is a country, but as a nation, as a region. Particularly in this kind of new dispensation, when you stop and you think about it, connectivity is almost at the core of everything that we do. If you're a gamer out there, you are using your connectivity right now to have entertainment. If you're coding, you're developing, connectivity is almost at the background or the core of what we use and what we do it. So it's super critical. And we have to recognize that there are some persons who may not have the access and the resources to be able to get a lot of the opportunities that exist out there because they don't have the opportunity to connect. And I also see the Caribbean in a bit of a crossroads. We are in this wonderful phase and sphere where we see the potential of connectivity and how digital inclusion is so important. We get it. We see the end result. But then we're holding on to a lot of the things that we are comfortable with, the paper, the immigration forms that are physically there.
Oh, don't get me started. Go ahead. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, man, I know. And Karen Rose, this one is for you. I know you landed in Trinidad and you're making a big deal about the forms.
Yes.
Let me get it. I get it. I'm not going to get into any more politics there. All I'm going to say is I would want to see a day where my Jamaica, my Trinidad, my Caribbean, where we can move a lot of the services that are paper based, we can move that electronic, because some of the things that we are doing and we're using, we are actually keeping a system that we're comfortable with, and we're not necessarily moving into what we can in terms of our full potential. So it's a constant struggle of the forces of continuity versus the forces of change. And
Right.
when you see the two kind of worlds collide with each other, people like continuity because they know it, they get it, they understand it, they know if someone asks them, hey, did Andre enter Trinidad on December 2025, they can go dig up in the box and they can go, yes, here we go. But then should we be able to do all of that online? Should we be able to like go online and have that same kind of thing? So it's, how do you keep continuity? How do you keep and protect the reasons people actually want to find or hold on to what they know?
Legacy system, sort of, yeah.
Yeah, but then still embrace a little bit of change. So that's kind of like a huge chunk on the telecommunications professional side. So now in my kind of 9 to 5 and my journey through the company here in Liberty Caribbean, I started off in business operations. I actually supported the creation of two entities that we purchased in Costa Rica. We purchased a fixed entity and a mobile company, and then I was the first head of strategy project management there. So my job was to kind of ensure that we kind of building on the experience that I had from Jamaica, where we had 4 platforms, to kind of help to guide the company in a strategic manner.
To streamline, sort of.
To streamline all of the operation.
And
so
how was that in Costa Rica?
How
is that going?
Absolutely amazing. It's so interesting when you look back and you think about the things that were hindrances or roadblocks, and when you look back at it now, and the company has just they're just flown past all of that, all of those areas, and they're a well-oiled machine, and they're one of the top growth markets. So shout out to my Costa Rica family. They're one of the top growth markets in Liberty Latin America. So I'm very proud of the work that was done there to kind of get the company to headed to continue the growth trajectory that it was on. But let's get back to the second part of what I was really talking about, which is how do I kind of see digital inclusion as a in my new dispensation?
Yes, correct. Yeah. How do you see the digital inclusion from the eyes of the people that have to be included, not the ones that are in it already? Yeah.
Right. So the ecosystem, and this comment that I'm talking about, this is something that we discuss a lot at the CANTO level, at the Liberty Caribbean level, even in the work of the foundation. We really look at the fact that there are so many people in the digital ecosystem, and what we're really passionate about is ensuring that no one is left behind. We know that there are some persons who have access to connectivity and to technology, but we want to kind of move beyond just using your phone for WhatsApp and to send voice notes. Move into this world where you're actually taking advantage of the technology and the apps that the developers on this very same who are watching this podcast. They want you to use the apps and the applications and to use the web-based protocols and to kind of really dig down and solve problems, because that's really what most techies want. They want to solve a problem. They want to see something that's not working, and they want to find a way to automate to fix it.
Correct.
And if you're going to be doing that as a technology professional, what we need to do, we need to ensure that you have the right systems in place. You have a strong internet source. You have a strong mobile network. You're working at fast speeds, so you can do what you need to do, and you move from like a digital novice to a digital native. So what the Liberty Caribbean Foundation does is we kind of zoom in almost exclusively on looking and seeing who is being left behind, and providing resources to upskill them and move them. Because we know not everyone has the financial resources to buy a phone, a laptop, and to start coding. So a lot of the work that we have been doing is getting the devices in the hands of the people that need it the most, training those who are digital novices, and moving them along the kind of
like an inclusion ladder. So kind of up. bit by
And
bit.
more specifically, what I'm actually very proud about is not only do we train them, not only do we move them along the trajectory as it relates to devices, but most importantly, we ensure that they can get the kind of certification through a program that we have called Jump. And Jump is really geared towards connecting the unconnected. Jump is currently in 5 markets across the Caribbean, and we're going to be expanding to 2 more markets by the end of the year, going into next year. So
Okay.
that is a
This
way.
is the
Yeah.
this is the first I hearing about Jump. So I'll get to Jump just now.
Coming soon to a theater near you.
We'll talk about it. Now, the margin for error when you're dealing with non-digital natives is very small. Meaning, if you tell them that this app is supposed to do so and so for you, you have almost 3 chances, 3 strikes before they use it. It stops working and they'll never download that app again because you lose trust, right?
Yeah.
Now, how does that margin of error play into your role and making sure that you account for every possible, not every possible thing, but as much things as possible when you're dealing with this person? So it's kind of like when you write code, you have to do a test plan, and the test plan must account for every possible thing that a user could do. And even after you do that and you give it to the user, they find a way to break it, right?
Yeah.
What I've noticed, and especially in our discussions with other developers and people on the podcast, they're saying that you need to have these focus groups. You need to go and talk to the actual people. You need to get them to come and use it, and you need to hear their feedback. And sometimes their feedback is so mixed that you have to learn how to filter out what they are saying and what they're not saying and those sort of things. Have you encountered anything like that?
That question is very, very, very profound, and the short answer to it is yes.
Okay.
One of the things that we have found, particularly when we do training, is that, as I said, there are different persons along the trajectory. Some people are like super comfortable and they're super advanced, and some people need a little bit more hand holding. The issue that you're really getting at, though, Andre, is the issue of trust.
Right.
Now, trust is actually very critical. It's the number one thing about banking apps, for example.
For sure, yeah.
They only use a banking app if they trust it. They will only use payment platforms if they trust it. Because the minute you break that trust, the minute your credit card is by using your
they're
app,
gone.
it's gone. And then we kind of fall back into the old ways of being. And don't start me on the kind of how we had made a giant leap during the COVID years in terms of moving online on platforms and electronic platforms. And then as soon as we kind of came out of COVID, we fell back into the old patterns.
Correct,
Forces of continuity versus forces of change, what we used to, what we're comfortable with. And then that's kind of why we ended up in this weird world of where we're trying to hold on to the past, but embrace the future. So I'm saying that to say that what I would want our developers and our users out there to really challenge themselves is to think as clearly and effectively as possible about how we can continue to build the trust in the ecosystem. And I think that's a core of what it is to be a more digitally inclusive society. You will only use the technology if you trust it. So you have to try and really think about all of the things that you can do to make the ecosystem functional in a way and in a kind of manner that makes sense for the user.
Right. Yes. You know, the example that came to my mind is Google Maps and like Waze and those sort of things. In the early times of Waze and Google Maps, it would work well in North America, but when you put it on in your country, and you know the roads in your country could be a little complicated sometimes.
You don't know what you're talking
about. Like turn left. Are you sure? This could never be a way. But over time, people started to trust that Waze and Google Maps and whichever mapping application you would use could get you to your destination with the most efficient route and take into consideration traffic and whatnot. And that took a while. But now I personally know some people who swore that they would never use any one of those mapping applications, and now they can't live without it because they trust, right? And so trust is definitely one of the biggest things. And for our developers in the Caribbean and our technologists in the Caribbean, a lot of trust is a lot of trust is lost when we don't follow proper best practices with respect to how we do things, right? In terms of CANTO has some different bullet points that they want to focus on in the conference, and one of them is equipping citizens with skills to trust and fully participate in the digital economy. And the other one is transforming access to commerce and scaling regional digital industries. When you scale an industry, scaling is something that we in the Caribbean, we know how to do to a point. Like you would have somebody who has a shop or around the corner. They would be selling their shop and whatnot, and everything is cool. And then you try to tell them, hey, your shop is doing really, really well. You should open a mini mart. But they will tell themselves, oh gosh, a mini mart, that's so much work. My shop doing good already. I don't want to try to do that. I'll have to get a cash register. I'll have to do this. I'll have to do all of those different things. And sometimes we are comfortable in our legacy systems and we don't see the need to scale and grow. Whereas other industries in the world, or not industries, other countries in the world, they realize the only way that you could build an economy is to scale beyond the small economy that you have, right?
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to us in the Caribbean, how do you feel about partially, this is what CANTO is trying to do to give us the tools that we need to scale. How do you see scaling taking place with respect to technology? And I would throw in best practices, but then I'll be asking too much. So whatever you want to say about it, go ahead.
I think we can tackle them all in different pieces. All right. So one of the things that I think is almost critical, and when the CANTO board sat down and we thought about our theme for the conference and for the AGM in 2026, we really wanted to. We really challenged ourselves, and it was a healthy and robust debate without telling tales out of school. One of the things we'll realize, and I'm going to use the WhatsApp example again, is that most persons have access to technology. So your grandmother, she has a phone, she has WhatsApp, right? Yeah. I'm pretty sure, I'm 98% sure, never met her. Shout out to Grandma Charles, pretty sure you're out there. She has a phone. But the thing is, what is she using the phone to do? She's still using the phone for kind of like analog stuff, and I'm not picking on her specifically.
Yeah. Don't worry. I know exactly what you're saying. I'm the last person that will feel offended. Go ahead.
Right. Yeah. But then so we use WhatsApp, and we still use it for phone calls and voice notes, and so we're not using its full potential. Right? What can WhatsApp do? You can run an entire business on WhatsApp.
Correct.
You can process payments. You can have an online gallery. You can, So that's the thought process that we had when we were sitting down at that table, because we're saying this Caribbean region needs to move just from saying check we have connectivity, check we have internet in this, check our internet penetration rates are high, or mobile LTE. We need to move towards using and utilizing technology almost in every single thing that we do.
Yes.
Every single product that you're launching, you need to think, how can I make it easier for the user to take advantage of technology? And with that being said, when you're talking about scaling of industries, there is not one single industry that we have in this Caribbean community that cannot be advanced, scaled, and even and used utilized in a manner to make more money by technology. Every single thing that we do, agriculture, better technology will help you. What's an example? You let's say you have a farm, and you have you're growing mangoes. There's technology that can even determine the sucrose content of the mangoes before you pick it. Yeah. And the best time to pick it is one. That it's gonna take you, let's say, 5 days to sell the mango. You can pick the mango 6 days in advance, knowing fully well that by the time the person who's ready to eat that mango, that Julie mango, eating it is soft, succulent, and has the right amount of sugars.
Right.
Technology that I have seen in my career, for example, in the wine industry, because of climate change, what the wine industry is realizing is they have to pick the grapes sooner than they normally would, because we have more days of
fermentation and all this stuff,
etc. So they are using technology to do just that, to pick the grapes on the right day to ensure that they can have the consistent taste, quality, and profile so that when you are consuming that wine, it is exactly how the winemaker wanted you to consume it.
Right.
So
now, you started to speak about industries. One of the things that we've noticed in the podcast when we talk to different people and whatnot is that we tend to believe that entertainment is our gateway to the world. And even though that is true, the Caribbean entertainment and tourism sort of angle is definitely a gateway to the world. Technology could affect that, but technology could give us, in certain industries, a leg up on some other industries in the world because we have a particular climate that is conducive to doing a lot of different things, especially with agriculture and all those different things. And the diversification of our thinking may not always be at the level that me personally, I would see. So I'm a teacher, and sometimes I'd be teaching children, and they were like, okay, I want to go to hotel school because tourism is this and whatnot. And I'm like, why not be a farmer? Why not be a fashion designer? Why not be this? And use the technology that you know about and use it in those industries. Do you share those same sentiments, or have you seen anything differently that you could see?
I absolutely am very passionate about this because when I was growing up, like the thought, like you were trained that professions were the thing of the day. Doctor, lawyer, accountant, this, that. And I now live to see the day when I talk to a lot of the kids in the schools that I visit, when we're doing a lot of our digital inclusion tours for John, when I talk to them, they're saying, they're coming up with some really stuff like, I had somebody say, hey, when I grow up, I want to be an influencer. I want to be a fashion designer. I want to be a plumber. I want to be an electrician. And I'm there thinking to myself, but, this is amazing. I could have told my younger self, look, go and be an entrepreneur. Like, I probably would have been one of the top entrepreneurs now, but it's just not one of the things that many of us were kind of...
We weren't inculcated into it,
Right. It was, you go to school, you go to university, you get a good job, you get a good pension, you retire. No, the world has changed so much. So the original or the core of the point that you made was looking at the key areas that drive our Caribbean. Hospitality or culture, agriculture. Technology can boost and fast track all of those areas in many different ways. I just spoke to you about an example of agriculture and using technology to determine when is the best time to harvest, when is the best time to reap, managing the even sometimes if you look at the greenhouses, you can manage a temperature, knowing fully well what's going on in the outside to keep your produce at the right levels. When you think about our culture, we have a very rich culture in the Caribbean. We have soca, we have dancehall, we have zouk, we have
and carnival. There's carnival everywhere. Everybody.
And carnival, every single country in our blessed Caribbean community has a carnival in some way, shape, or form. One of the things we are looking at when you think about travelers, when people are deciding where they go, why do I go to a Caribbean country? I'm living in the US. Why do I go to a Caribbean country? Or why not go to Bangkok? Why not go to insert name of exotic country here? You know how they're making their decisions? They're using technology to make it. They're looking at the TikTok videos. They're looking at the pictures of the place. They're looking at the reviews of the place. So gone are the days when you just be like, oh, I'm just going to go fly to a country and figure it out. Most times when you land in a country that you've never been before, you have like a very clear idea of what you want to do and what you don't want to do. That's kind of like the nexus of using technology to kind of grow our Caribbean. And that is the real reason that the CANTO board and by extension, the secretariat, we really want people to think of technology not just as being connected on the very basic means that we're talking about, but inculcated and incorporated in our everyday lives so we can increase our livelihoods.
Right. I love that. Well, this segment, I think I get your heart and I get the CANTO heart. Now, will you be one of the speakers at the AGM? The way you passionate right now, like you have the hand movements, the gesticulations. I want to ask you that last question there. I see your eyes lit up. It's like, oh yeah. If they give you 15 minutes to speak about that, I would come in front row and I would clap because
it's very unlikely that our Secretary General Teresa Wankin will allow me to not speak. I normally say to her, no, CANTO is not about me speaking. She's just like, yeah, no, Rhys, you're gonna talk.
No, for sure. I sense the passion, and of course, I have like a million other questions, but that's okay. Our goal is to get the understanding of where the CANTO AGM and conference is going to lead us and where it's going to carry us, and I really appreciate how you articulated it. Next thing is where we're going to talk about the Caribbean. Now, we just spoke about the Caribbean a lot, but I have some specific questions about tech in the Caribbean.
Sure.
That kind of bounce off your telecommunications background and those sort of things. So in the next segment, be prepared to tell me, no, I won't answer that, or I plead the fifth, right?
All right. The aim is to answer all of them, though.
All right, let's go.
CANTO Connect 2026 is here. The Caribbean is ready to rise, and the world is watching. From February 1st to 3rd, 2026, industry leaders, innovators, and policymakers will gather the Hyatt Regency Trinidad for CANTO Connect 2026 and the 42nd AGM. Expect unmatched networking opportunities, a power-packed agenda, and insights from global thought leaders, government ministers, and top executives shaping the digital future of our region. All against the backdrop of Trinidad and Tobago's rich culture, energy, and warmth, where business meets rhythm and connections go beyond the boardroom. Join us as we elevate the Caribbean from connectivity to global competitiveness. Don't just attend, be part of the movement. CANTO Connect 2026.
Welcome to CANTO Connect.
All right, welcome back, y'all. Thank you very much for locking into the Trinitechcast. We are, like, in our last segment, should take about 10 to 15 minutes. So I have some, not hot button topics, but things that we generally bounce up a lot when we are doing this podcast, when we covering news in the Caribbean, when we interviewing people. There are some, like, issues that we just be like, oh, come on, can't we, like, fix this? Can't we fix this as yet? So your experience in telecommunications would have brought you through the bandwidth situation.
Right.
And you kind of went through that when you were talking about the 4 legacy systems and how to streamline it to fiber and those sort of things. What would be our biggest issue with connectivity still that you think still exists? Why would some people have their speed test giving them 100 megabits per second, and then some people, their speed test is giving them 10 megabits per second, and they both have the same company, they both have the same supplier? Where do we fall short in connectivity still?
Right. So one of the things we have to remember as it relates to even the connectivity at your home is that technology and the kind of technology that you have, it's very capital intensive. Right. So what we found as an industry is that the cost of maintaining the network and ensuring that we can keep up with the requirements that you have has increased in some instances. But what you can charge for it has kind of capped out, because as it becomes more ubiquitous in terms of the technology and the availability, what tends to happen is people have higher demands and expectations for technology.
Right. Yes.
The short answer to your question is, okay, 20 years ago, Netflix wasn't an issue. So the speed that you needed then is not the speed that you need now. And when I said Netflix wasn't an issue, when you look at the bandwidth of what people are doing and using, completely different. So if you're in a family, you mentioned that you have 2 kids. So in your family, for example, let's say 10 years ago, it was probably just you and your wife using the technology that you have.
Yeah, using 50 megabits per second plan, and we could.
It was good. It was because you weren't really doing anything. But now, when you have both of you, and you have 2 kids in the house, and
everybody has 3 devices. Yep.
Everybody has 3 devices, and who want to watch YouTube, Peppa Pig, or who?
Yeah.
What we've found also is that that consumption is actually the amount of data that you consume and the speed that you consume. I'm not abdicating the responsibility of the industry to ensure that we are giving you the fastest speeds in a reliable time frame. But in a lot of cases, what we find is that their people are not aware of how much they consume, and therefore it's ensuring that you have the right package for the consumption that you have. So, of course, I'm here streaming right here on this podcast, and using the internet now. I live alone for the greater part, so luckily, but if let's say I was living in a household with like 7 people, I may have to say to everyone,
we'd be lagging,
we have some intermittency, for example. So, to your viewers out there, really look at your consumption. Think about what you're using the internet to do. If you are someone who uses who needs a high upload speed or download speed, ensure that you have the right package. That's the first thing I'll say to you. And in the case of some countries, like in the case of Jamaica, we have a lot of theft and vandalism. People cut the fiber wires thinking that they're looking for copper.
Oh wow! Well, I mean, we've experienced that in Trinidad also. Yeah. And that was like a 2 to 3 years ago when people were like copper was the price of copper was so high because of COVID or whatnot. Yeah, they cut a few fibers thinking that it was copper. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and you know, it's completely ridiculous to me because I'm just saying you're literally inconveniencing yourself.
Oh yes, we went to tongue on those people. Yeah. Now, in terms of the cost and the infrastructure, now. Many people don't know how the internet actually works, right? And they just think, well, hey, they come and put a box on my wall and you turn on Wi-Fi and it works, right? But there is this element of the undersea cable network and the backbones that we connect to, and the different amounts of fiber optic cable, undersea cables that we have come into our country. And those things have a big part to play in how we actually get the internet. Yeah. Now, you may not be able to disclose as much information about the connection to these fiber backbones that run, because there's a ring that basically goes around the Caribbean and goes to Miami, and then there's some ones that chain up the islands or whatnot. How do these undersea cables and the maintenance of those undersea cables and the prices of those undersea cables affect our connectivity in the Caribbean?
All right. So I think you've done a really good job of explaining it in a very, very short time frame. I can see that you're an excellent teacher in that sense. But yes, to most of the persons out there, the internet that you're magically getting and connecting with doesn't just come from out of nowhere. There's a subsea system that is delivering the connectivity to all of our islands. And the challenge that we have, particularly in the age of climate change, you can have earthquakes that can disturb that. You can have sea events. You can have
like volcanic stuff, because we have volcanic islands along the way, and those sort of things.
Correct. And you see, because of that, it is always important for all persons in the industry. And again, I want to speak to a lot of the techies who are out there. It's important for you to ensure that you explain this to as many people as possible so that they can understand that there is a huge chunk of resources that's needed to give you the fastest operating network that you have, right? So, in terms of the subsea and the pricing, what I will say is, in general, I won't necessarily speak to
Yeah. You can tiptoe as much as you want. It's okay.
No, I'm not tiptoeing at all. But what I'll say is, as technology advances and we get better at using the resources that we have, and we use things like AI to kind of get better at the technology and the equipment that we have, you're more than likely going to see faster speeds and the cost. The cost staying in a
consistent,
consistent and affordable for the better part. So,
all right.
It's a delicate dance. It's a very intricate thing, and I don't think in the 4 minutes that we have left, I can probably get into the full.
No. I was just saying 15 minutes, but that's okay. I know you watch anytime. Our goal is to make it an hour, but the editor will do what you have to do.
Okay, all right. Well, then
my editor is actually from Jamaica. Fun fact, yeah.
We have a lot of vocational training in terms of digital that Jamaica is taking advantage of. So, for example, we have a lot of photographers, editors, you name it, and it's because of a specific dedication of pushing education in that area. And I would like to see more Caribbean countries do it.
Well, you went to my third question, because I'm teaching. I've been a teacher for about 15 years. I worked in the not telecommunications. I work in the IT industry, technician, networking, and whatnot for a few years in my early life, because I was studied, and then after that I realized the gift of teaching was mine, and I went headfirst into teaching. So I teach IT and computer science, right? And I just run these things because they are nice passion projects, and I love technology. Now, in terms of education,
I'm watching your eyes light up talking about
so in terms of education, what you would have seen in Jamaica and wherever else you are around, how does education play a part in the next generation, the Gen Alphas and the Alphas and Betas? Z to Alpha and Beta, right? Basically, anybody that is in their teens right now, early 20s, all the way down to the 6-year-olds. How does education help us push forward the things that we want to see? Because we know the connectivity is basically going to be there. But now is the integration of the technical services into our industries and whatnot. How do you think education plays a role there? And your answers so far have been very, very robust. And I just I want you to be future thinking. So think, what do we have to do to ensure that these children are motivated in 2030, 2035 to ensure that technology is the driving force to make businesses and the systems better in the Caribbean? What do we have to do in education?
All right. So a couple of things. Number one, one of the things that we're realizing as a society now more than ever, and I'm sure you can attest to this, is the attention span of our children has become.
Oh, yes. Oh, for sure.
I was actually looking at one of your previous podcasts where you're talking about your daughter just kind of scrolling through and like she's not even watching the videos. Like she's just like what are you doing? Watch a video. Yeah. So we have to recognize that, number one, that our children have to be stimulated in a very creative manner from out and they have to be exposed to technology. And by exposing them to technology and getting them comfortable with it, that's when they become they become digital natives even faster than most of us who are here. And because we're aging out on the digital kind of spectrum, and they're
sadly, I don't want to admit it, but yes.
So I want to see a Caribbean education system that really takes into account the fact that we need to get our children comfortable with technology, and we have to get our teachers comfortable with technology.
Oh yes,
using a blackboard, a chalkboard, and things. It's fun, it's cute, but it's not what we need right now. We need to be using whiteboards, smart boards, and that therefore means that if we're going to be running our society that is almost 100% reliant on technology, we have to equip the classrooms with the kind of technology that they need. So it's, like I said, the whiteboards. It's using the laptops and the laptops and the iPads and the tablets to actually impart the knowledge for a lot of our children, because this is ultimately how they are learning. This is the most common medium for education, and using YouTube and whatever other streaming platform as a source of good. And I tell people all the while that many of our children don't even recognize the fact that if they have a question just randomly in their head, they're just like, why do kids fall in love? You literally can pick up your phone and go on ChatGPT. Fall in love, and ChatGPT is going to give you all of the information that you have there. So I'm saying that there are two critical components that I want to see our education system have more of. It has to ensure that it is not only commanding but keeping the attention of our children, and it has to ensure that it's doing so, most importantly, in a creative manner. And that means that all persons in this digital ecosystem have a role and responsibility. Developers, you have a role. You have to find a way to think it through and to get people interested and solve problems that people don't even know that they have. Right. What has made technology so pervasive that there are apps that have thought of, there are people who have sat down in a room and developed apps to fix problems you didn't even know was a problem.
Yeah. I get you.
That's what I want to see for education.
Excellent answer. I probably couldn't answer it better myself. I am really grateful, and I really and truly I want to meet you in person. When you come to the AGM, because we will lime. Trinis will say lime. Because having these sorts of conversations, I mean, you'll probably have 50 other people to talk to at the point in time, but I just need 15 minutes of your time to just talk, boy, because it's fun to see people who are like-minded and passionate and understand the problems that we're trying to solve.
Yeah.
And don't just see the problem and complain about it, but see the problem and think about, I could fix this, or I have the resources to put something in place to fix this. Yeah.
And that's kind of why I got involved in CANTO. Largely because I wanted to be in an organization that was actually responsible or at the forefront for starting to not just think about the present, but think about the future. So when we go to bed and we're having our wonderful dreams, my dream for the Caribbean, put simply, is that we should be the epicenter of all of the technological growth and advances in this entire hemisphere. It should be us. We have everything that we need. We have the accessibility to the resources that we need. We have the labor force, and we can retool a lot faster than many of the countries that are in Central America and in South America.
Yeah. Nimble and agile. Yeah, correct.
We're agile, and most importantly, we're resilient. And if there's one thing that I have learned from the country that has hit Jamaica is the resilience of the Jamaican people. Like, we will find a way to bounce back, and it's the resilience not just of Jamaican people, of Trinidadians, of Barbadians. Yeah. We know. All you have to do is tell a Caribbean person, no, and they will away.
Yes. Bad mind you call it. We call it bad mind.
Yeah, man. Yeah. All you have to do is tell them, no, it can't go so.
Correct. All right, y'all. I want to thank everybody for staying to the end. Normally when we look at the analytics, people actually stay to the end of our podcast and be like, whoa, like 60% of the people listen all the way to the end. That's crazy. So all those of y'all who made it to the end, we appreciate y'all. And as you would have seen from the promotional material, we have a special for the CANTO AGM that will give you a huge discount, and most likely we'll play it at the end here now to let you know that if you want to come to this AGM and you want to hear Rhys live, because he has a touchy stage, and get your networking on point, because as you can see, he went through some networking that got him into different spaces and places. Sure. And at CANTO, definitely the networking could get us into some different spaces and places. So those of you who made it to the end here, here's the information about it. It's going to come up on the screen now. It's Mr. Charles here from the Trinitechcast, and I'm inviting you to CANTO Connect 2026 from February 1st to 3rd, 2026 at the Hyatt Regency, Trinidad and Tobago. It's the 42nd annual general meeting where the Caribbean's top leaders, innovators, and policymakers will be meeting to discuss the Caribbean's digital future. This year's theme is Elevate the Caribbean, from connectivity to global competitiveness. This theme will spark conversations, connections, and of course collaborations that will drive regional transformation. All right, Rhys, tell them anything about yourself, where they could follow you. Do you have any social media handles that you want to let us know about? And let's get you connected with our listeners, and maybe one of them might DM you or some kind of thing like that, yeah?
I'm really just getting into this whole LinkedIn thing. So my LinkedIn is perhaps one of the easiest ways to keep in touch with me. It's Rhys Campbell, RHYSCAM. I think is that how you do it? Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. All right, so we'll put that in the episode description underneath. And well, of course, all the shorts and everything that we do, all the information will be inside there. So we'll see how that goes. But I want to thank you very much, Rhys, for coming on to the podcast. And I could see myself inviting you on another time just to talk about the telecommunications industry alone, because I have a lot of questions about the ins and outs of the telecommunications industry, the transitions from different technologies to others and whatnot. And we could talk the really, really techie stuff about the acronyms that you didn't know when you were in the meeting and you found out about those acronyms. I want to hear those stories too.
That'd be amazing. And anytime you're willing, I'm really looking forward to seeing as many persons at CANTO and in Trinidad and in all of the other spheres. Find me on LinkedIn. It's going to be, I'm happy to talk to you. So see you
excellent. Soon. All right. Thank you very much, Rhys, and thank you very much, everybody, for listening. This is the Trinitechcast. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Over and out.